हम दोनों ग्लोबल इंजिन्स ऑफ ग्रोथ है।
It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Modi of India, who has been such a great Prime Minister.
विश्व की दो विशाल डेमोक्रेसीज का साझा सशक्तिकरण हमारा उद्देश्य है।
Hello and welcome to our special presentation here on India Today. Well, hours after Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin announced an eulogy week for slain Hizbul commander Burhan Wani's death, anniversary, United States State Department declared Salahuddin as a global terrorist. But ashamed, Pakistan refuses to bow down, with the Foreign Office in Islamabad slamming the United States move, calling it unjustified.
Hours after Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin released a bloody appeal to unleash violence in Kashmir in his Eid message, the United States designated him a global terrorist in what would be one of the biggest moves to clamp down on his terror network. The statement was unequivocal, terming Salahuddin a terror mastermind. The order means his properties subject to US jurisdiction can be seized. It also prohibits US nationals from engaging in transactions with Salahuddin and his terror groups.
Given the challenges that the two countries have faced and continue to face, and the rest of the world and the rest of humanity also faces from this global menace of terrorism, the discussions in the courtesy call by Secretary Tillerson on the Prime Minister touched upon how the two sides have cooperated in countering terrorism.
This US classification is a major embarrassment for Pakistan, where Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif hailed Salahuddin's minion Burhan Wani as a hero.
Burhan Wani, the young leader murdered by Indian forces, has emerged as a symbol of the latest Kashmiri Intifada, a popular and peaceful freedom movement led by Kashmiris, young and old, men and women, armed only with an undying faith in the legitimacy of their cause and a hunger for freedom in their hearts.
Pakistan, as expected, remains unapologetic. The Foreign Office in Islamabad has slammed the US move, saying that calling those supporting the Kashmiri right to self-determination as terrorists is unjustified. The Congress has, however, questioned Modi's Salahuddin victory.
President Trump has named North Korea and applauded India's efforts in joining the coalition against North Korea. But there's no reference to Pakistan in his remarks. Similarly, even his interpretation of Islamic terrorism is very different from India's interpretation of cross-border terrorism, which is sponsored and which emanates from Pakistan.
Salahuddin remains one of the rallying points of the best-known faces of terror in South Asia, having engineered some of the biggest terror attacks in India. Though the US designation is being seen as a big move, some are, however, questioning it, saying a similar classification for Hafiz Saeed in 2014 has not stopped the Jamaat chief from conducting his agenda in India. With Geeta Mohan in Washington, D.C., Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, joining me now on the broadcast from Washington, D.C. is Editor of Foreign Affairs, Geeta Mohan. Geeta, you covered this trip of the Prime Minister. Over to you.
Well, that's right, Ankit. While the world community recognizes what Pakistan has been doing, Pakistan absolutely, again, in denial. And all the statements that have come from the talks that was held between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump that lasted about 4 hours goes to show that President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi speak in one voice and one voice alone, that is to combat terrorism and eliminate terrorism altogether.
We will destroy radical Islamic terrorism.
आतंकवाद जैसी वैश्विक चुनौतियों से अपने समाजों की सुरक्षा राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप तथा मेरी टॉप मोस्ट प्राथमिकताओं में से एक है.
A resurgent US president, fresh from an interim victory on his long-fought travel ban, making his intentions clear again. Terror topped the agenda in the one-on-one meet and delegation-level talks between the US and India last night, with both nations condemning terrorism in the strongest possible terms. The leaders of the two biggest democracies cornering Pakistan and speaking in one voice against terror.
आतंकवाद जैसी वैश्विक चुनौतियों से अपने समाजों की सुरक्षा राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप तथा मेरी टॉप मोस्ट प्राथमिकताओं में से एक है.
Both our nations have been struck by the evils of terrorism, and we are both determined to destroy terrorist organizations and the radical ideology that drives them. We will destroy radical Islamic terrorism.
The stage had already been set hours earlier, with the US declaring Hizbul chief Syed Salahuddin a global terrorist. And the message to Pakistan, a nation which breeds and shields terrorists from the leaders of strongest democracies, couldn't have been clearer.
I would highlight to you that the two leaders called on Pakistan to ensure that its territory is not used to launch terrorist attacks on other countries. They further called on Pakistan to expeditiously bring to justice the perpetrators of the 26/11 Mumbai, Pathankot and other cross-border terrorist attacks perpetrated by Pakistan-based groups.
And while India's concerns on H-1B visa and US pulling out of the climate change accord did not come up for discussion, both leaders agreed to work together to enhance ties on trade, commerce and investment. President Trump also accepted the Prime Minister's invitation to visit India. Modi, in fact, also invited Trump's daughter Ivanka to lead the US delegation to the global entrepreneurship in India.
Ivanka, how excited are you to go to India?
Very much looking forward to it.
Recent tensions after US pulled out of the Paris Accord led many to believe that there could be tensions between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Trump when they meet. But it seems like they have put all those apprehensions to rest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi not only invited Ivanka Trump to lead the US delegation to India, but also has invited the entire Trump family to visit India. Also, we saw the handshake, we saw the hug. Again, a lot of apprehensions whether if they're going to hug or not. The two leaders seem to have hit it off and have found a way to take Indo-US ties to a different level and to see to it that there is a better future for India and for the United States of America. With British journalist Carmelo in Washington DC, Geeta Mohan for India Today. Well, many are considering this meet beyond expectations, that this has been a meeting of two leaders who are going to take ties to a different level altogether. But there are a few hits and misses that we'd like you to see. Over to Ankit Tyagi for more on the hits and misses.
Well, Geeta, let's take our viewers through the hits and the misses of this big meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump. Let's just first take you to the hits, the things that worked. So, strong chemistry between Modi and Trump was on show. In fact, this was seen in the hugs, the three hugs and the handshake that we also saw. Prime Minister Modi was, in fact, able to get this designation of Syed Salahuddin, one of the most wanted in India as a global terrorist. This is a big win against Pakistan-sponsored terror, an embarrassment not only for Pakistan but also, you know, for the entire terror-backing machinery that exists in Pakistan. Sale of the Guardian drones to India. This is something, in fact, experts have been saying. He has, in fact, gone a step ahead in terms of technology in comparison to former President Barack Obama as well. This, remember, is also a big point of contention or a big point of tension for China. Well, a commitment to widen energy and economic cooperation is also something that is a lot of industry in India, and the government is looking out. Now, let's just take you through of what were the misses. Few things that possibly we were not able to touch as we wanted. The H-1B visa curbs not on the table. This topic was not brought onto the table. A lot of expectation from the IT industry as far as this problematic topic is concerned. Climate change issues, no specific reference to climate change concerns. Remember, India took a very strong stand when America pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, and in fact it was Donald Trump who went on a tirade against India post that as well. When containing China remains a grey area, there have been few things like the gardens drones, and also the mention of the South China Sea. So all those things, but not a very specific strategy as far as China is concerned. Well, a lot of experts, Geeta, have been saying that possibly this was part of the diplomacy between India and, and this is exactly what Prime Minister Narendra Modi wanted to avoid. He did not want to touch on the issues in the first meeting that could have in any way upset the President of United States.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump were to meet. There were speculation is rife on whether if there is going to be a bear hug or a handshake. Many experts were trying to surmise what really was going to happen. We all saw what happened. Let's take a recap on what really transpired between the two leaders.
It started with a handshake. It culminated in a hug. And then another. And between the two lay an entire gamut of emotions that one could only interpret as remarkable camaraderie for two leaders who have differed on more than one issue in the recent past. At the outset, Modi was a man at ease before the world's most powerful man. Shared a few laughs with POTUS and FLOTUS. Gave the first couple his thumbs up and had an assorted series of other handshakes in the middle too.
It was very warm, it was a very open, very cordial. There was a great deal of ease. This was the first time they were actually meeting, but they were really very, very comfortable with each other.
But look back at 2015, when on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly session in New York, Barack Obama walked up to Modi and gave him a warm hug. Is this the scent of changed dynamics? And this wasn't the only time Obama and Modi were seen clasping each other. So has the bonhomie cooled down just a tad? Do these two friends betray slightly more awkwardness than the good friend Barack and Modi duo? At least they're moving in the right direction. Bureau Report, India Today.